Hello and welcome to the Knock On KCLR Sports weekly rugby podcast where we talk all things Carlow, Kilkenny and Tullow Rugby. Joining us is Paddy Browne from Tullow Rugby Club. Paddy, how's it going?
Hi Stephen, how are things?
Sure, not too bad. As middle of the Six Nations, lost to France, Italy match coming up, all this stuff about Sam Prendergast and Jack Crowley, and then we had Galtier, the French manager, accusing all our players, the Irish players, of doing dirty deeds. Antoine Dupont. It's been busy, Paddy, and yet here at home of Towns Cups and all to look forward to and everything as well. It's been a busy time, but we're right in the thick of it now as in terms of rugby.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. So definitely, Stephen, it's definitely all happening now, and won't go back over in detail over the whole Fabian Galti outburst, which it was. But the most interesting one I saw only this morning, it came up on my phone, Nigel Owens, who most people do rely on, he came out very, very strongly this morning saying that there was no crime committed by Ty Byrne or Andrew Porter, and that it was a total accident. So, like, it was great to hear him saying that, because it's that's how it appeared to me, and the citing commissioner, of course, agreed with that and with the referee's interpretation of it. So Galti, I can see how they were so upset over Antoine Dupont, the greatest player ever played the game possibly, and the drama in the dressing room apparently with half time in the French dressing room was unbelievable. But yet I think Galti was completely wrong and overstepped the mark. Yeah, but so that's that weekend, and there's the thought to look forward to. But I mean, a lot of crestfallen people after last weekend. I certainly was. I couldn't call that game, but I certainly thought it was going to be a one-score match. And regardless of what referees did or didn't do, they were by far the better team. I think people only now realise the loss that James Lowe was. You know, apart from his own incredible skill set, also the fact that somebody had to come on, and Jamie Osborne had to go out of position, and another guy had to come on cold, you know, so fair play to him, he did his best. But it upset the rhythm of the team, there's no doubt. What's that?
Yeah. Well, we know Gary Ringrose and Bundyaki was quiet, and there's a lot of things went wrong.
Things went wrong, and one or two referee decisions, but as I said, they weren't the reason we lost the game. So look at just to reflect on things happening down Tullow way. Our senior men didn't have any game last weekend. We were to be playing Skerries in the Cup, and that game is now put back to next Sunday. So I'll talk about that in a few minutes. But it was one of those another tragic situation. Why that game was called off was another tragedy where a young man lost his life, a young member of Skerries. And you know, we've talked about this a few times in recent seasons, and it's so tragic and so sad, and you know, our thoughts go out to all the families and the club members and all belonging to this young man. Very, very sad. But anyway, so that meant our men had no game last weekend, but we had a 7 youth matches, and we had a reasonable success rate. We won 4 out of 7. Our under 13 boys went down to Gorey in the Leinster League at 14-24. Our under 15 boys had a very busy time. They played a tie on Saturday in the Leinster League Premier semi-final, and a tie very strong at that level, and a big win, 35-7 over Tullow. The same team went on to play Wexford then on last Tuesday night in the semi-final of the South East. And in an absolute cracker, they had to convert the last try. It was a bit like our first the previous week, to win 31-29 away to Wexford. And that puts them into the final now of the South East League. So that was a great win for them after the disappointment of the match against the tie. Our under 16 boys beat Mullingar away 12-0 in the Leinster League Premier Division. Our under 18A boys had a narrow win, 27-26 over Portlaoise in the Leinster League Division 2 semi-final. The under-18 Rhinos had a big win in the Leinster League Division 2 semi-final over Navan, 36-17, and both those teams go on now to play in the final. So, as I said, the men's J1s and J2s had no match. The women were away to Ballincollig, the AIL team, and they had put up a huge performance against a very strong Ballincollig team, and were eventually beaten 34-12, but they really put it up to them, and it was only in the last quarter, I think, the Ballincollig pulled away. So, you know, our women seem to be getting used to life in the AIL, and it's an awful pity because, you know, they are coming to terms with teams now and running them close. And next week, Cook from Belfast are coming all the way down, and people in the know are predicting a win for Tullow in that game. Pity it's a little bit too late. I mean, if they had won one or two more matches, they would be staying up because only one team goes down. So maybe results might still go their way, but it's I think it's fairly unlikely at this stage. But it's great to see them coming to terms, as I say, with life in the AIL, and credit to the coach and all the girls for really sticking with it when they could have lost heart earlier in the seasons with some of the huge defeats they had. But they enjoy their rugby, and you know they've got some key players back, and they really are loving life in the AIL at the moment, and that's great to see. Looking forward to next weekend, then we've a huge round, 9 matches in total. Our J2s are out tonight, Friday night, in the Southeast League that's taking place. They're away to Rathdrum, and they're home to Rathdrum at 8 o'clock under the lights. And it's nice to see that league resurrected because it does give teams some bit of preparation and competitive matches in advance of the cup, which starts in a few weeks' time. So they're taking on Rathdrum, and of course that would be Rathdrum first team. And I saw the team sheet, and they have a pretty strong team out, many of whom will be subbing for the first on Sunday. But they have a strong team out, so the best of luck to them. On Saturday, then, our under-13 boys have a very long journey off up to Carlingford Knights, and if they win that, they could go top of the under-13 Leinster League Division. So it's that long journey would be well worthwhile. Carlingford Knights I hadn't heard of before, so obviously they're a new team, but rugby is pretty strong off that part of the country. Our under-14 boys are home to Edenderry in the Leinster Plate round 1. Under-16 Rhinos are home to Enniscorthy at 11 a.m. That's at the Black Gates. And if it's a win, it's a Leinster League match. But if it's a win, it puts them into the finals along with their under-18 boys and the under-18 Rhinos. The same said, Rhinos are home to Kilkenny in the Leinster Plate quarter final, and that's at 11 o'clock in Oak Park on Saturday. And I mentioned already the AIL ladies are home to Cook at 5 p.m. on Saturday. Our J1 ladies don't have any match over the weekend. So that brings us then to the under-18 boys, of course, on Sunday are away to Naas in the Leinster League. That's the under-18 white team. So finally then, that brings me to the Towns Cup match. I mentioned the fact that the Skerries match was postponed from last weekend, and Tullow have reasonably quite a strong team out. There's not too many missing, I think. Jack Fitzgerald would be the main one that's missing through to injury. But the team, I just named the team anyway, Stephen, that is lined up for Sunday. So front row is Scott Callback, Dan Culleton and Feet Kavanagh. In the second row, Colin Gorey and Martin Cole, and in the back row, Joe Waters, Jack McDonald and Stevie Smith. So that's a very big pack, and the pack that has done the damage for us in the last 2 big matches, showing very much scrum dominance against both Bective and the Thai, and it's more or less the same pack with the exception of Tom Cashin being replaced by Feet Kavanagh. But Tom is in the subs and will be raring to go, I'm sure, if he gets the chance. In the backs then, number 9 is Ryan O'Neill, who's kind of stepping in from, he usually plays on the wing, but he's stepping in there. He's lots of experience at scrum half, and he's going in there in place of Jack Fitzgerald. Number 10, Peter Burgess. And the 3/4 line then is Jack Johnson, Shane Rowan, Ryan Jordan and Jack Hanlon. And number 15, fullback, is Adam Burgess, brother of Peter, who's out half. Shane Rowan is the small surprise there. Shane played very well for the seconds in the last couple of weeks and has loads of experience at this level, playing on a couple of Towns Cup winning teams. So he will bring a fair bit of experience into the side. The subs then, which are the regular subs and a few lads coming up from the seconds, there's 8 of them listed. There's Tom Cashin, Jack Rogers, Philip Byrne, Paul Canavan, Killian Murphy, Conor Kelly and Tom Hughes. So yeah, Cup fever, it's that time of the year again, Stephen, and Cup fever has gripped. I think the training is going very well. as I said, the match was put back from last week, but the draw was made last week. So the winners of Tullow and Skerries will be playing away to Gorey. So who we played in the cup last year down in Enniscorthy, and had a bit of a job getting over them. But at this stage, Gorey seem to have gone back a little bit, certainly from a league point of view. But they're a good cup team, but we won't talk about that till after Sunday. It wouldn't be the Tullow style to preempt a cup match. As I said before, in the build up to this match a couple of weeks ago, Skerries being a senior club and sending down their seconds team, you don't really know what you're going to get. And earlier in the season, the senior clubs can be quite strong because they still have lots of lads available that they might lose later on in the season as they are pulled up onto their firsts. So we will not be taking that for granted. There's a little bit of Skerries have a massive record in the Towns Cup. I think after County Carlow, they are the second highest number of winners. They have 11 wins in the Towns Cup, so they have a huge tradition. A lot of those wins, of course, all of them, I'm nearly certain, were in the time before they went senior as a club. But obviously the Towns Cup means a lot to them. So they will come down with a degree of passion, and we really don't know what they're going to be like team-wise because of the fact that it's their seconds team coming down. The other little piece of interest in relation to that is when Tullow finally made the big breakthrough in 2017 in a tie to win their first Towns Cup ever after have many failed attempts getting to finals and semi-finals. It was Skerries we beat in that final. So whether that means Skerries will be out for a bit of revenge or whatever, I don't know, but it does add a little bit of added interest to that particular fixture. So yeah, all roads lead to the Black Gates next Sunday, Stephen, and I think I'll be doing a little bit of commentary for KCLR. Oisin was on to me there during the week, so it won't be live commentary, but they'll be coming for updates, I think, and that sort of thing. So we'll gladly do that. So that's all on the rugby side. I suppose one other little mention, nothing to do with rugby, was another win for Tullow because the Byrne family, aka the Slaneyville Syndicate, are all very good friends of Tullow Rugby Club, members, sponsors and friends, and would be great men to attend the matches. So there was 7 Byrne brothers and their sister Alicia and their brother-in-law comprised the Slaneyville Syndicate. And following the success of Hardy Eustace back about 15 years ago, another horse owned by that syndicate called Lecky Watson was a big winner on day 2 in Cheltenham, trained by Willie Mullins, of course. So Lara was interviewed on telly after, and I just want to acknowledge that win, and it brought a bit of excitement around the area again. So it was great to see that, and fair play to the Byrnes. They seem to be fairly adept at picking winners, so hopefully they'll pick Tullow next Saturday.
Absolutely. Fingers crossed. Paddy, enjoy the game the weekend and everything else. Fingers crossed now for Tullow. Carlow gone through there as well. And of course, Kilkenny were beaten last weekend, unfortunately. And that's still 2 local teams in it. So fingers crossed, go the whole way, at least one of them anyway. In your case, Tullow. The cup has a special place in our hearts for sure. Attire still in it as well, and they'll give a good run to anybody. So there's a fair bit of local interest. Pity Kilkenny, and by all accounts, it was a tight match. And I said last week that they would put it up to Wicklow, and by all accounts, they really did. So yeah, as I said, if we win on Sunday, there'll be 8 teams in the quarterfinals. And which are the following, which are Sunday week. So the games now are coming thick and heavy, and we really hope to be involved. The big target for Tullow, of course, this year. I know it's a long way away yet, but it would be just unbelievable to win 3 in a row. We won the cup the last 2 years, so 3 in a row would be just a dream come true. Absolutely. Paddy, enjoy it. We'll catch up with you again next week, and thanks for talking to us on the Knock On.
Thank you, Stephen.
We're back, yes, and thanks to our man from Tullow, Paddy Browne, there, for giving us an update on everything there. We're going to focus on Kilkenny now. James, sort of season winding down a bit. There is still plenty of rugby to be played. in Fookstown and beyond as well. But just disappointing weekend last weekend for the J1s.
Hugely disappointing. Hugely disappointing. Like they were probably the stronger team over the 80 minutes, but as we've spoken about a lot on the knock-on over the last number of years, the difference between 1A and 1B is that the 1A teams capitalize on mistakes when you make mistakes, or when you don't take your chances. We had a golden opportunity to put Wicklow away, and we were leading at the break, and just small margins. Like, we were held up over the line. We had two golden try-scoring opportunities, one in the left corner and one in the right corner. We didn't convert them. We had masses of possession underneath their posts, and they just defended very, very well. And they get one turnover, they go up the pitch, they score, and then they get another turnover and go up the pitch and they score. And look, we're hugely disappointed. And I spoke with a good few of the players this week and kind of giving them pats on the back, and you kind of feel like you're, it's a consolation giving them a pat on the back for a job well done, because our lads played with such emotion, such determination and everything. You couldn't have asked any more from them. And you'd asked just a few of the lads that I was talking, how is the body? And they kind of said the body is fine, but the head is what's worse, like, because the lads know they left it behind. And I guess Wicklow know that we left it behind as well. And it was kind of acknowledged by some Wicklow supporters after the game. But as I said, that's the difference between a 1A and a 1B team at the moment. And I'm not making excuses for our lads, but if you look at it, we were missing a huge amount of players as well. Like, we're missing Brian McDonald wasn't there, Jay Lahey wasn't there, and there's others who have come and gone this season. But like, we put out an incredibly strong team, and they performed. I would say they performed to 90% of their capability. Which I'm a hard person to come to impress. I'll always find the problem, but it's very, very difficult to find any problems in our performance last week. And I suppose, as an ex-youths coach, one of my proudest moments came last Sunday in the club when Charlie Buckley, a young fella who I brought, was part of a coaching team that brought through from under 13s to under 18s. I never in my wildest dreams I always knew Charlie was going to go on to play adult rugby with Kilkenny, but I never thought I'd see him play first 15 in the Towns Cup for Kilkenny. And it was a proud moment for me. And, I had a bit of a hug with him after the game. I congratulated him on it. But I think as a coach, as an ex-coach, that's what it's all about. That's what winning is about, So, but look at I suppose I don't want to, in context of the game, we started with quite a strong team, to be fair. As I said, we were up front in the front row. We had Charlie Buckley, Ben Devlin, and Josh Evans. And I've mentioned Josh Evans previously on this podcast, but he deserves great kudos for what he's brought to our pack this year. Second row, just saw a little bit of a kind of Joe Connolly and Jay Callbeck in the second row. Joe had been playing most of his trade in the back row this year, but he's moved up in the second row in the last few games. And in the back row, we had Jason Connolly, Gary Dunn, and Wes Carter. Out scrum half, we had Aaron Askins, and I think it would be remiss of me to go through this discussion without mentioning Aaron. Aaron's a young fella who has played away with the seconds for a number of years and played wherever he was asked for in the seconds. He got his chance with the first 15 this year when Stephen Atkinson emigrated to Australia for a couple of years, and Aaron was brought in there. And I really got to say, he's doing the business for us. He's been incredible. He's not put a foot wrong since he's gone in there and taken that jersey since Christmas. And we're very, very lucky to have him. Outside, it was Jack Campion at number 10. In the centre, we had Joe Manuel and Dan Dowling. And Joe Manuel probably had his best performance ever in a Kilkenny jersey. Now, for a fella that's made 160 caps, to make a comment like that is a big comment. But he was unstoppable. He was brilliant on Sunday. On the wings, we had Ewan Rossetti and Jeff Power. And full back, we had Podge Mahan. On the bench, we had Drew Phelan, Matty Hogan, Liam McWay, Dan Ring, and Tommy Murphy. So it was quite a strong Kilkenny team that we put out. We started incredibly well. We got some good scores on the board. But as I said, as the game progressed, we really stamped our dominance. And even the Wicklow Twitter page was kind of saying at stages, it's all Kilkenny here, it's all Kilkenny, camped on our line. But look at how whenever we didn't take our opportunities, and we're out. But I suppose I don't want to come across as being a moaner or a whinger, but I did comment on it last week regarding the game and tackle positions and legality of tackle positions. And I stand by what I said last week. Even more so, we had our under-8s, minis boys, at the game on Sunday. They were playing a half-time exhibition match amongst themselves, and their parents were there. And look, to be honest with you, I felt in rugby we're really trying to clean the game up. We're trying to, we're trying to lower tackle heights. We're trying to tidy up ruck entries. We're trying to eliminate players being taken out under high balls. And there was instances of each one of those last week that went unpunished. There was some from what I would classify as reckless ruck entries. So one of our players taken out mid-air under a ball, yellow card offence, wasn't even a penalty for it. Couple of very high tackles, Joe Manuel, for instance, blood flowing from his nose, blood flowing from his mouth, and there was nothing. Now, I admit referees are referees and things happen very, very quickly that they can't see, but it was clear to a lot of us on Sunday that, and it was both ways. Don't get me wrong, this just wasn't all Kilkenny just weren't had it. It was both ways. We were making high hits as well, but I really think if we want to clean this game up, there has to be consistency. Joe Manuel feels in his own words that if it was him doing some of the things that was done because of the past reputation he has, he feels he could have been red carded on Sunday if he was wearing a different colour jersey. So did it have a material impact on the score of the game? Absolutely not. It had no impact on the outcome of the game. It'd be very silly of me to say if it did. But where it could have had an impact, and it might have an impact, is with the mothers and fathers of those under-8 boys who were standing on the sideline watching the game, saying, Jesus, I thought we're cleaning up this game, but we're looking out here seeing high tackles, players being taken out in the air, and torpedo entry into rucks head first. That's not how the game is to be played. That's not what the game is about anymore. So I think I just think, speaking to a few of our players, speaking to other players since it as well from other clubs, they're just looking for consistency. If the tackle height is here, anything above there is high, and we've got to make sure that tackle height has been marshalled, because we are only one instance away from a very, very serious injury in junior rugby. And we don't have the luxury of TMOs. We don't have the luxury of any of that. But I'm adamant. I was no angel on the rugby pitch. Anyone will tell you that. I probably in my latter years I didn't get many yellow cards, but in early years I was probably getting a yellow card every 2 or 3 games for doing something headless or something stupid. The game we're on a mission to clean up the game, and that's what I came out of Fookstown worried about on Sunday, was the mothers and fathers of our under-8 boys who were looking at the game saying, Jesus, I thought we're tidying up the game, but high tackles, ruck entries like that are allowed to go ahead. That's not what it's about. Now, as I said, it didn't have an impact on the outline, on the final score, but there has to be consistency. That's my little rant, and I'm only speaking from myself. I'm not speaking on behalf of anybody else there, but I'm just thinking the bigger picture and promotion of the game, really, because the referee had a great game. In fairness to him, he had a great game. There was no was there yellow cards in the game? I don't believe there was. Every penalty that he gave tactically for scrums were penalties. Every, in around the ruck was very good. Just marshalling at a high tackle probably needed a little bit more, because there was some serious high tackles going. But anyway, look, that's that. We're out of the cup. We're not going to compete in the plate, I don't think. A lot of players away on holidays, a lot of players injured, a lot of players need breaks. Believe we have a few guys involved with the juniors as well who want to play a break. But however, it was a great performance. We had a great day in the club. We had a celebration before the game of Brendan Jenkinson to celebrate his 52-year service to Leinster referees through Kilkenny, and before he was in Kilkenny through Terranure. So we wish Brendan all the best in his retirement, but hopefully it's not the last we see of him around the clubs and the southeast clubs. Our under 10 and 12 girls had a great day up in Railway Union. Railway Union played Blackrock in the IL last week, and our under 10 girls were up to play a game against Railway Union at half time in that game. And under 10 and 12 girls, so Karina Halp and Frankie Hughes and Mick Boyd brought the girls up there, and they had a brilliant day by all accounts. Match results from last weekend. Our under 18 girls beat Portlaoise 29 points to 5. Our under 14 girls beat Naas 38 points to 0. So they now qualify for the under 14 league final, being played this Saturday at 2:45.
Okay.
Madness. Ireland playing at 2:15. You know, that's not fair. But however, it's hard to find slots for games. But it is what it is. Under 13 boys beat Mullingar, beat them comprehensively. Our under 15 boys lost to New Ross in a friendly match in 31 points to 34. Under 15 boys are just going to gradually build now. They've had a very tough season, the lads. They got promoted from Division 2 to Division 1 last year after winning the Division 2 league, and they just need a rub of the green. They probably, it's hard for them, but in fairness to those chaps, they come back. I was watching them training last night. It was 28 of them out on the pitch. And look, they just obviously love the game, and fair dues to them for bouncing back every week, and fair dues to Simon and Pat and Lee, all their coaches. Our women's 15 beat CYM 55 points to 0. Our under 14 boys beat New Ross 29 points to 5. And as I mentioned, our first 15s lost 24-17 to Wicklow. Now, I'm leaving the best to last because our under 18 boys had what I can only describe as a titanic battle with Wexford in the league semi-final last Sunday. It was the curtain raiser to the Towns Cup game. And they were leading 25 points to 12 at half-time. Wexford went on a rampage in the second half to lead. Kilkenny got to take the lead. Now, Kilkenny lost their talisman early on through injury, but he came back on late in the second half. But they got out of their own half twice in the second half, and Rory O'Carroll nailed 2 penalties to win it. They won on a scoreline of 35 points to 34. Jeez. After being down by 3 points, after being down for 3 points. So look, they deserve such incredible kudos. But just to Killian McElwee, James Kennedy, Daniel Ring, the whole team, the coaching setup, we wish them the best this Sunday against Portlaoise in the final in a tie. I think kickoff is at 12 o'clock on Sunday. If everybody could get up to Portlaoise to give the boys a shout on it, it'd be greatly appreciated, because I've got to say these are a very, very good young Kilkenny team, and with a lot of young players for the future in the team, and we've got to rally in behind them because they deserve our support. But the team spirit, determination, and just pure grit that they showed to get that win over Wexford on Sunday just exemplifies how strong of a team and how strong of a bond they have. Moving on, I mentioned Aaron Askins earlier on. Look, at Aaron is our kind of player profile of the week. What I said earlier on, I stand by. He's just been probably the most improved player that we've had over the last couple of years. Incidentally, he's going away to Canada now to play for the summer and kind of keep on top of things. I've mentioned under 18 boys been in a final this weekend. Our under 14 girls are also in a final against Clane at 2:45 in Naas this Saturday. So if anybody wants to get up the road to support them as well, please do. Well done to them on getting this far. They became, a couple of weeks ago, they became the first Kilkenny Youths girls team to win a trophy, where they won the South East League. Now they have an opportunity to go on and win a Leinster League, and we wish them all the very best of luck, and we'll all be rooting for them. Other fixtures this weekend is our under 16 girls are away to De La Salle St. Mary's in De La Salle on Saturday at 11 o'clock, and that's the Leinster League semi-final. Our under 18 girls are in Oak Park against Carlow in the Leinster Plate at 11 a.m. on Saturday. Our under 13 boys have a trip up to Trim to play North Mead. No, sorry, that's at home against North Mead on Saturday at 12 noon. As I mentioned, the under 14 girls have the league final against Clane at 2:45 on Saturday. Our under 18 boys play Portlaoise in the league final in a tie at 12. And our under 15 boys have the Leinster League at home to RD at 1:30. What else have we got going on in Kilkenny that we should know about? I actually think that's pretty much a wrap from Kilkenny. Our seconds look forward to the Cup. Just want to say thank you to our first 15 players who are all out. And I remember Tom mentioning this last year as well with Carlow, when Carlow got knocked out of the club and the seconds were staying going. But our first 15 players were all out. Many of them, I think there was probably 12 or 13 of the starting 15 from last Sunday out helping the seconds get ready for Seconds Cup next week. So fair play to all of them. It's brilliant to see, and I think it's testament to the team spirit that Corey, John, and Noel and Stephen and all the lads have built around them. And look, we wish the seconds the best of luck in their preparations for the Cup, and likewise with our thirds team under Gary Doyle's management, we wish them the best in their preparations as well.
Good stuff, James. Commiserations, of course, on the loss last weekend to Wicklow, but it's one of those things. And like you said, the lads get a well-earned rest now and regroup again.
We couldn't have asked for any more from them, Stephen. They were brilliant, you know.
Really good.
But as we always say, that's the difference in 1A and 1B. And Tom is saying it all year. When a mistake in 1B mightn't be punished, a mistake against the 1A team, you have an 80% chance that it's going to be punished, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for that update, James, as always, and enjoy the rugby this weekend. And of course, Six Nations is on, as James said as well. Keep an eye on Ireland and Italy tomorrow, 2:15 Saturday. Tom Crotty joins us now as well. Tom going to update us on all things Carlow. Tom, you were in Towns Cup action last weekend. You've got your win. On to the next one.
Yeah. Excuse me.
Happy?
There's no corral there, Tom.
maybe that was the match. Yeah, look, we got to win at the end of the day. That's the main thing. We're on to the next round, and look, we knew from day one that it was going to be a tough one with Longford coming down. They had a good, I think it was a run of 7 wins out of 9 in the last few games that they had. So we were expecting that they would come down. They're kind of always been a very dogged team from, you know, they don't stop till the final whistle blows, and we've kind of always had a number of tight battles against them, you know, and we knew this would be no different. I said, like, they had nothing to lose to come to Carlow. They were going to throw the kitchen sink at it. We got off to a good start where Shirley got a try and Ben converted. So we were 7-0 up after a few minutes, which was a good start. But I don't know, we never really seemed to get going. We were very flat. I don't know whether it was the game the previous week, losing to Suttonians and now facing a relegation playoff battle. But I think we were extremely flat from, you know, right across the team. The pack were kind of didn't have the same input that they had, you know, the same impact or input that they've had in other games, and the backs didn't function at all. It was sort of one of those games that it was a squeaky bum time for a certain amount of period of time with it, and I'd say, like, realistically, only probably a couple of players. Joel Brown had an outstanding game. Ben at full back, probably one of his better games of the season. But as a unit, we didn't perform. Like, we got another penalty, we kicked it, so we were 10-0 up. Then Longford came back. We let Longford back into the game second half. They got a tackle was made on Tyrone and near the touchline, and I have to say, but the linesman made a disgraceful decision. The nearest part of the body to the touchline was his head, and that was a good foot away from, and he put up his flag, and from there they built, and we we shouldn't let them in anyway, but they got to try. So that was 10-7. We went back up the pitch shortly after that, and being Cup Rugby, we took the points just to put us away from the tries that gave us a 6-point buffer. But then Longford came back and got back onto our line, and like with minutes to play, we were fighting on our own line. I have to say, it really was defensively when we got on there. When Longford were hammering off us, our line defense was super. Probably the one reason we won that game. It was a complete performance right across the board from everyone in defence. If Longford had scored at that stage and got anywhere near kicking, we were gone, because there's no way we would have made it back up the field. If you're down and you're handing the ball back to them, but in fairness, we got back up the field and did what we should have done all day. I don't know, just maybe a bit of change of pace. But we had a quick ball flash from left to right, and Josh Cope scored a fantastic try in the corner to seal the game. But I mean, up to that point, to be honest, the way Longford played and continually came at us, in fairness, if they had won, they would have been deserving of it, because they didn't, as I said, from we knew coming down that they wouldn't stop, and they didn't. In fairness, they're a good side, and some really, really good players, and I can see them like developing in the next year if they can keep that team together. It won't be long before they're back there competing in 1B, and it's just we felt that we underperformed. It was like, even after the final whistle, I know there was a sigh of relief from everyone in the club, because after the week before, we could have been out of the Towns Cup, and that wouldn't have done us any. That would have destroyed the season as a whole, because you're going to, and a mentality thing then going into the playoff. But look, we had 2 good training sessions. We did a very good training. We actually had an internal match last night, that was played at 100 miles an hour, and a lot of lads put their hands up last night that may have not come into the fray before. Johnny Murphy had just come back from injury. He's free to play, and Johnny was probably badly missed throughout the season. He's got that little bit of doggedness in him, and he's superb with the ball in hand going forward, and we can probably miss that a little bit throughout the season. But Johnny's after coming back. He got a full all clear on his knee injury, so I was delighted to see him last night. And for a guy that hasn't played all season, he was playing really, really well last night. Look, we have to move on. We've Boyne away in the Towns Cup next weekend. We'll talk about that next week, but that won't be an easy task. Boyne have been promoted up to 1A. They're back there again. A side that we've had a lot of battles with over the last couple of years, and we'll have a lot of respect for them, and we'll have to get our game plan right and the team right. It's just trying to figure out now, between the bench and the starting 15, what's the best combination of players, and what combination off the bench will make an actual impact in the game. I think we need more impact probably from the bench that we didn't have last weekend. And it's not that the players are senior standard. They're probably better starters. Some of them are better starters. Some give a better impact off the bench, and we're missing a bit of oomph off the bench. So we'll have to look and see with the coaches to see what way that combination of the 20 players going to Boyne next week will come together. It'll be tough. But look, we're still confident enough. Plenty of lads training. The atmosphere is. Look, we had a great night after we had the bingo, the music bingo after. There was probably the best thing that ever. It was the best, and I have to say, it was the best night I had in the club in years. It was just great crack, and it was probably what the players needed, because we came back from Suttonians, and to be honest, if we just come back to a bar in town, we'd be moaning and groaning and talking rubbish, and pints to be had, and the more pints you have, the more rubbish we'll talk about the game. And happened, and but whereas it just blew it away. There was no talk of rugby, and I think that's what the players needed. And as I say, sometimes I think in Towns Cup you can have an off game, you can have that game, and if you get through, sometimes that's the game that can be a very positive thing. So look, we'll take the Longford win as very much a positive, because we're through to the next round, which is massive. There's no easy, and a lot of clubs were false. That would have been odds-on favourites. Ross put it to tie. I think they were leading at half time. So it's not just us that were shaky, and Wicklow, as Blanche said, Kilkenny really put it up to them and probably could have won that game, at the end. But at the end, they made one mistake and Wicklow punished them. So it was really down to the wire with a lot of games. And sometimes, as I said, these games that are tough, and the ones that you come off in, you could have done a lot better. They'll stand to you later on in the cup. But look, we'll move on to Boyne next weekend, and fingers crossed we'll perform as well as we can perform, which we need to perform. I think there's a couple of performances still left in it. So as I said, we've tough games. We Boyne away next weekend, who are back up straight promotion, and then we have that playoff the following weekend against Wexford, who came second in that league. So it's just unfortunate to play the top two teams in the other league 1 week after the other, and it's a huge moment for the club, and all we can do is go out and give it our best for 2 games, and hopefully, if we can stay injury free, and we can perform as well as we can perform, hopefully we come out to the right side of those with the right side of the results on both of those. And that we had a bit of celebration at half time at the Towns Cup match 2. I missed the podcast last week, and just want to congratulate our ladies rugby team, who in the first year back got promoted. They won the league, and hopefully next year be promoted up to a more competitive. And I mean by competitive, as in teams that will have 15 side. We'll have 15 players. We played an awful lot of 10-a-side rugby and 13-a-side rugby, and it was it's really hard for girls, especially learning to develop, but they got presented their medals at half time, and I just seriously I want to congratulate Louise Kelly and all the girls, and Byrne, our president, and Gavin, who coached them at the start, and Jimmy Burke, who's helping out now, and there's just so many I can't mention that have dug in and helped out at all stages. But the main thing is it's the women themselves that are driving it. It's not us. They started off, as I said here, they were doing more socializing, then they had more time socializing than they had on the pitch at the start of the season. But that was the goal. It was to go out and build a bond between the players and have a good time. And look, that's what sport's about. And I think if they can develop, and we're going to be looking for new players next year to join and try and recruit more girls into play. And because it's just the atmosphere was fantastic, and to see them celebrating and enjoying it, and in fairness, not only have the women developed their team, but they've brought a whole lot back into the club. They're supporting. They've come supporting the girls' rugby, watching the girls' rugby. They're at nearly every senior match. They've traveled. Some of them have travelled away to the men's senior games. They don't have to do things like that, but they've got really involved in the club, and hopefully we get them a little bit more involved next season. But just again, congratulations to them. They're out in a couple of weeks' time. We'll talk about that later on. Next couple of podcasts, they're playing Swords in the cup at home. I think it's on the 28th, around at the end of the month. So hopefully they'll come out the right side of that one and build on. Our youth, through the youths now, 1 sec. The under 18 Rhinos had there was no game for the 14th, 16th. The 18 Rhinos, they played Navan at home on Saturday in the under 18 league semi-final, and did a fantastic win, a really, really good win against a strong Navan side. I have to compliment them too. We played them up there. I know we beat them in the plate the week earlier up there, but that was a cracking game too. And we knew like they come down, and in fairness to them, like they don't, another team that don't lie down. They've a great bunch of girls there, and it was a really, really good game. I think the girls got more compliments after the game from people who hadn't watched them before, and just said like the standard of rugby that they're playing is second to none. And it was such an entertaining game. They're out actually this one. They're playing Kilkenny in the next round of the plate in Carlow at 11 o'clock on Saturday morning. So we great to see them out again. What was that on that? Under 13s lost to a good Dundalk side away in Dundalk. Under 14s, unfortunately, beaten in Enniscorthy. I think the 15th one in RD. The under 16s had no games. Under 18s beat Naas on Sunday, and they beat a tie on Wednesday night in the game over there on Wednesday night. So the 18s are ticking along nicely. They're in the Southeast Shield final next month, and they're still involved in the cup, so they're throwing everything in now, seeking to win the cup. So, and really? I have to say, two of them, there was 2 or 3 have played with the J2s in the last couple of weeks, which is really, really great to see. They're coming through, and it's nice to see young players stepping up. They did extremely well in a friendly for the J2s on Sunday. Young Aaron, young Aaron Gordon's brother, he had a crack. Aaron, who plays in the 2 boys played together for the first time, and it was great to see 2 brothers playing. He just has stepped up from the under 18s to play with his brother Aaron. So it was great to see them play. But it's nice that there is a pathway through from kids youth rugby up into the senior ranks. This weekend we have under 14, or this week we have the under 14s are away to a tie on Saturday. Our under 16s are home to Tullow at 11 o'clock on Saturday. Our under 18s are home to Kilkenny Saturday at 11. The under 13 boys are away to are home to a tie at 7 o'clock tonight. Our under 14s no game, under 15s have no game, under 16s are home to Boyne on Saturday, and our under 18s have no game this weekend. I think that's nearly all from Carlow. Just to thank everybody who organised that bingo night, because in fairness, it was a cracking night and a lot of work was put into it. So
seen a few clips, Tom, on the socials, and it looked a bit of crack.
Oh, it was great crack, and we had a hen night booked in out of the blue. It was just a local as they do, and they had a brilliant night. So hopefully we'll have there's a few more things in the pipeline for next season. Some kind of club events like that. I think we're having darts. We're having an Ali Pally darts night at some stage next year, and I think a lot of work starting to prepare for that. A full long tables and work it out. But that's, I think, one of the ones that's in the pipeline.
Good. All these good ideas, Tom. Something different.
Things in Carlow are fair. Things in Carlow. That's working away nicely. There's no. We don't have any. I'm getting a WhatsApp.
I see this. Yeah. Someone's mad to get through to you there.
This is what happens when you have a live podcast. Get a WhatsApp. But look, things in Carlow are grand at the moment. As I say, a lot of things happening on and off the pitch. So looking forward to it. I'm also looking forward to the end of the season.
Yes, just for a little break. As much as we love the old rugby, Tom, it's nice to have a bit of time off.
Yeah, well, it's actually hard to believe that it's this time of the year. And looking forward now to the match tomorrow. Looking settle down and sit in front of the telly tomorrow. No match this weekend except for the girls tomorrow morning, and after that, then free for the weekend. It's great.
Yeah, they had Six Nations and park yourself up for that one. Be nice.
Absolutely. Hopefully we can get a win. And it'd be hard to see France or England losing, but sure.
Who knows?
You never know. It's Paddy's weekend. Stranger things have happened.
Yeah, Scotland could do a job. You wouldn't know. You just wouldn't know.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe St. Paddy might give us a bit of luck. So
just see what happens. Well, enjoy the weekend anyway, Tom. And thanks for coming on. And to the lads as well, to James and Paddy as well. We'll be back next week to talk Carlow, Kilkenny and Tullow Rugby Club. And until then, take care and mind yourselves.
Thanks a minute, Stephen.
Thank you.